Hello, humanities students. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to meet our third main character, Montag's wife, Mildred. So we just left Montag after he had walked home from work and run into our second main character, Clarice. And we talked about how different Clarice is from Montag and from other people in society. The fact that she's even out at night walking, observing, the fact that she goes home to her family who's just sitting around talking and laughing. These are things that make her stand apart, that make her different. And Bradbury also makes her stand apart in the text by associating her with very different images than we had seen previously. So with Montag, we saw a lot of very negative, dark imagery. Fire, snakes, destruction. Whereas with Clarice, suddenly the imagery and the symbols change. It becomes lots of lightness, white, moonlight, candles. She's described as almost floating with leaves surrounding her. Lots of natural, beautiful, gentle imagery that all has really positive associations and highlights how innocent she is and how she seems to be special. And we left off with her asking him, "Are you happy?" Happy? Of all the nonsense. He stopped laughing. He put his hand into the glove hole of his front door and let it know his touch. The front door slid open. "Of course I'm happy. What does she think? I'm not?" he asked the quiet rooms. He stood, looking up at the ventilator grill in the hall, and suddenly remembered that something lay hidden behind the grill. Something that seemed to peer down at him now. He moved his eyes quickly away. What a strange meeting on a strange night. He remembered nothing like it save one afternoon a year ago when he had met an old man in a park and they had talked. So Montag's immediate reaction to her question, "Are you happy?" is unthinking. "Of course I'm happy," he says, right? He doesn't even pause to think about it. And she commented on this earlier in the text that she asks him questions and he doesn't even think about his answers. He just responds with what is expected. But we can tell he's rattled. The fact that he's wondering, the fact that he's still thinking about it, suggests that her question rattled him, that her question bothered him, that her question is making him pause and maybe, dare I say, start to think about this. And then he does something interesting. He looks up at the ventilator grill. Okay, now that's weird, right? Like he looks up at where the air conditioning and the heat is being pushed out. And he seemed to remember that something lay hidden behind the grill. This is a great example here of foreshadowing. There is definitely something going on here, and I guarantee Bradbury is going to come back to this later. All right, let's keep going here. Montag shook his head. He looked at the blank wall. The girl's face was there, really quite beautiful in memory, astonishing in fact. She had a very thin face, like the dial of a small clock seen faintly in a dark room in the middle of the night, when you waken to see the time and see the clock telling you the hour and the minute and the second, with a white silence and a glowing, all certainty and knowing what it has to tell of the night passing swiftly on toward further darkness, but moving also toward a new sun. "What?" asked Montag of that other self, the subconscious idiot that ran babbling at times, quite independent of will, habit, and conscience. He glanced back at the wall. How like a mirror, too, her face. Impossible, for how many people did you know that refracted your own light to you? People were more often, he searched for a simile, found one in his work, torches, blazing away until they whiffed out. How rarely did other people's faces take of you and throw back to you your own expression, your own innermost trembling thought. So Bradbury uses two really great similes here as Montag is reflecting on Clarice. The first is he compares her here to a small clock. But then he goes into a lot of detail. A small clock that you see in the middle of a really dark night that is telling you of the passing time and the certainty and knowing that night will pass swiftly. Even though there may be more darkness, eventually there will be a new sun. So we know that sun is symbolic of rebirth, of life, of goodness. Darkness, oftentimes, is symbolic of evil, of fear, of death. She is the clock in the night that tells him that the sun is coming. She is the one who seems to suggest that there can be a new beginning. And we know that clocks in our lives do something that we don't always love. They wake us up. She says, "Are you happy?" It's almost like she's waking him up to a reality that he wasn't even aware he was living in. But she's also promising that there can be something better. And then he also compares her to a mirror. Mirrors are symbolic of truth. Mirrors don't lie. You look in a mirror, it shows exactly what is. So not only is she maybe there to wake him up and bring him to a new reality, but she's also there to show him truth. And this is very different from other people in his society. Very different. She is rare, right? Other people are more like torches. We associate again here torches with the fire at the very beginning of the novel, something potentially destructive, blazing away and then whiffing out. All right, so he continues to reflect on Clarice. What incredible power of identification the girl had. She was like the eager watcher of a marionette show, anticipating each flicker of an eyelid, each gesture of his hand, each flick of a finger the moment before it began. How long had they walked together? 3 minutes? 5? Yet how large that time seemed now. How immense a figure she was on the stage before him. What a shadow she threw on the wall with her slender body. He felt that if his eye itched, she might blink, and if the muscle of his jaw stretched imperceptibly, she would yawn long before he would. Why, he thought, now that I think of it, she almost seemed to be waiting for me there in the street, so damn late at night. So he feels this special connection here with Clarice, that she truly sees him, understands him, knows him in a way that others have not before. And this is going to be in sharp contrast, or again, we're going to use that vocab word, that literary device, juxtaposition, to what we're going to see next.